Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
All right, it's another sausage party edition of Monster Candy Podcast.
Two swords passing in the night.
Two swords passing in the night. I don't have any good response to that.
Don't cross the streams.
Cross the streams. Listen, Shotzi Blackheart is off being a badass wrestler. She's on tour, and so we're filling in the gaps.
Picking up her slack or the gaps.
The gaps, slack, monkey tax. We're gonna do some mini episodes based on some movies that we've seen recently and try and carry us through these dark times of these dark Shotzi-less times while she's out being a badass wrestler.
Nuts to butts, baby. Nuts to butts.
Nuts to butts. Oh man, this is getting more depressing as we go.
Do you guys remember the ambiguously gay duo from Saturday Night Live? It's like me and Dom when Shotzi's not here.
Yeah, great. That's gonna be something I'm never gonna unsee now. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I'll embrace it. So today on Ambiguously Gay Duo Monster Candy Podcast, we're gonna talk about The Predator.
Oh.
I was really excited for this movie because I love the Predator movies. Now, I love the Alien movies and the Predator movies. I love Alien versus Predator movies. They are not all equal.
They are certainly not, sir.
But they all have a place in my heart. And I'm going to say I found great moments in this. Brief moments, but I also found problematic. I didn't walk out. I didn't walk out of this movie. No, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, it's always cool to see the Predator on screen. It's always cool to see soldiers trying to fight, but this definitely felt like it fell short of what I was looking for in a 2018 reboot, or not reboot, like revamped sequel. And I'm not a huge fan of Shane Black, who directed it. I'm not. Shane Black, as many of you may or may not know, played Hawkins as an actor in the original Predator movie, which I'll throw this out. The original Predator movie, if you know anything about that movie should have sucked ass, and it didn't. It came together, and it was an amazing classic.
It's a great monster movie.
It's a great monster movie. Yes. This is not.
Screamin' he wants to say, what the fuck?
You know what I think? It didn't have this. It focused on the action, and it focused on machismo, which kind of, but a lot of comedy at the expense of suspense. At no time was there any sort of. Did it feel like anything was on the line? Like
it was the recent A-Team movie with Rampage and fucking Bradley Cooper and all that with some aliens in it. Mm-hmm. It's exactly what it was. It was it was like a bro comedy action movie with some fucking aliens. Nothing made fucking sense. I want to know, man. Where the fuck did they get all the motorcycles from?
That's your question?
Well, one of them. There's many in this fucking
like of
shit
everything.
show.
That's what you went for. Is like where? Okay, honestly, I'll say this much: it was that moment when I literally, there's a moment. Sorry if it's a spoiler. You guys are gonna.
By the time it's come out, most of you, yeah.
So. The loony soldiers were supposed to hop out of their bus, and they see motorcycles lined up at the base, a ton of them, Like more motorcycle than any. Like apparently there's a riding club of scientists in this secret base, and literally one of them screams, "Get to the choppers!" in one of the worst callbacks I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And people say that they got mad when Olivia Munn's character, the doctor, looking at the alien predator for the first time, says, "You're one beautiful motherfucker." I actually liked that callback, to be honest. If you're going to have a callback because you saw a different perspective on that, and her reaction would be similar, and it didn't feel weird. And it was weird to me that that's the line they had a problem with. Whereas for me, I actually groaned out loud when they screamed, "Get to the choppers," pointing at a bunch of motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, stop.
Nothing in this fucking movie made sense.
It
Like,
had a lot of problems.
There was a... Yes. It had a good premise. It had a good premise.
It did it? I mean, maybe.
Alien, you know, this rogue alien coming back to fucking warn... This hybrid alien fucking coming back to warn Earth. Here's some, you know, some shit, whatever. But...
It really struggled, though, with that. Yeah. Like, who was helping who? Because until they said that one predator was trying to help everybody, like, there was no clue in any of his reactions at any point in time to infer that.
No.
And I confirmed by reading more on this movie that is what he was doing, was he was trying to help humans, yet he didn't act like he was trying to help humans.
Sure didn't.
Until the super predator showed up. So I honestly don't know what to say about that. Because there was no... Like, I would have actually welcomed a buddy movie with an alien and a person teaming up and trying to stay...
Yeah, the movie's
ahead.
called fucking Meatballs. Okay?
What? Really?
Oh, buddy alien? Hell yeah. It's Meatballs.
But, yeah, this was just trying so hard to be funny. I guess it was supposed to be a reboot until Shane Black got involved and he wanted it to be a sequel, which I was on board with. He wanted it to be hard-hitting. He wanted it to be rated R. Because PG-13's for pussies. But then I just felt like there were so many wasted opportunities.
There's a reason why he got killed early in the original Predator, and you know, a lot of people were like, "Dude, it's like the guy from the original Predator who had, from what I've gathered from the shit I've read online, minimal to do with the writing of that movie."
Yeah,
it sounds like probably, hey, here's some stuff maybe, and then the other two guys, I forget their names, turn some, you know, shit into a great fucking movie. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everyone's like that. There's a reason why he didn't direct the first one, because
there was just so many missed opinities. Like, I like Olivia Munn. I don't have any problem with her in this movie.
She's never been better than
she
Attack of the Show. That was her fucking
you said that, yeah.
I know. And
she tried. For her part, she did her part. She tried to do what she could with this movie and her scenes. She didn't bother me. However, her plot line, her character wasn't very strong. The wife of the main soldier was way cooler and got no scene. And to be honest, her entire part could have been taken up by Keyes, played by Jake Busey, who's literally supposed to be the son of Peter Keyes that was in Predator 2, played by his father, Gary Busey, and they just... And Jake Busey is a fine actor. He is a fine actor who I have enjoyed in just about everything he's been in.
They're really trying to, like, make Olivia Munn this huge star.
I'm fine with that. I don't dislike her.
Yeah, no, I like her too, but it's just not working. Is my thing. They're just like, hey, let's put her in all this shit. And it's like, I don't care. Like, nothing she does is like grabbing or
but I mean, like,
interesting.
Like this movie, I refuse. Like, I will not blame Olivia Munn. No. For this because when she's on screen with her character, she's actually doing a good job. It's her character and its placement in the plot that's shit. Like, you know, like Olivia Munn is doing the best she can. In fact, she's one of the things I like about this movie. I just don't like her character.
Right. Well,
her character has no point. I wanted the mother on the screen more.
Yes.
And like, I was like,
she was a more engaging and interesting character.
She has like literally 3 minutes of scene,
which could have honestly
and she stole it.
And There's a lot of shit.
And Jake Busey had 5 minutes of scene, and we lost him. And I was like, "Where's he? He's keys. He's an actor. Like, I want him. I want him. Why are we following her and this other guy?" And I liked I actually thought the idea of the kid with Asperger's. Was it Asperger's? No, it wasn't Asperger's. It was autism.
Right.
Oh, okay. I actually like the kid with autism being able to understand predator technology on a level that nobody else could think of. I actually thought that was kind of neat. That was kind of a fun angle, but
to me it felt forced.
Everything feels.
Everything felt
yeah,
forced in this movie.
I like. There's a lot of actors in this I really like.
What the fuck happened to the dog? Like the regular dog. They made this big fucking thing.
The regular dog.
The pit bull.
Yeah.
That was like barking at the kid, and then it comes to and it saves the fucking kid when he's in the baseball field. It just runs away. And then it runs away. But then remember when they're in the RV and the fucking dog, and they're like, wait for the dog, and then they just don't.
But it was the predator.
No, the pit bull. Like it was running. Like it was. You're like, oh, I guess they're gonna gain a dog at this point.
Yeah,
and then it was just like, meh. Just whatever. Yeah. And then the fucking predator dog, like...
there were so many great actors. Like, I like Keegan-Michael Key. I like Thomas Jane. I like Alfie Allen. Alfie Allen's awesome. Greyjoy from Game of Thrones. That fucking dude's rad.
Just not in this movie, though. It was too fucking hokey.
Sterling K. Brown. He was awesome. But it was all hokey. It's like...
Like, if you wanted to make a comedy action movie, then just do that. Don't...
But how could he not have seen... He was in the movie. I know he's seen Predator. And I know he's seen Predator 2. And I know he's seen Predators. He must have seen all those movies. And he must have known that Predator, it's the reason that's the best one. As much as we love Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's actually the best one because it's actually a horror movie. It's a suspense monster movie. And they actually do comedy. There are lots of funny scenes to lighten the load and then reset for the next tension build, and he just ignored that. Like he wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's a great movie.
And it was all done like the first one. Like you believed all those guys were badasses. Like, cause one, they look fucking gnarly.
It was definitely like, let's go to the gym and get every actor we can that's like looked out on steroids.
They had a real fucking Navy SEAL. Jesse the Body Ventura, like the best lines in any movie.
I got time to bleed.
Just all kinds of shit.
I can quote that movie. I could do a one-man show of the Predator. Of Predator.
But you believed it, and you believed like as fucking 80s as it was, like, a lot of explosions, and we're just gonna shoot bullets until we shoot more bullets. Like, shit like that. It was still like you believed, like, oh, okay, I get it. These guys are like fucking, But then they get these. Oh, these guys are supposed. It was like there's so many movies I can relate this to, like the fucking Dream Team. If you guys have never seen the Dream Team, it's fucking Michael Keaton and fucking Christopher Lloyd. They play escape mental patients, and it's a funny movie,
right?
But it's a fucking comedy, and this was a comedy, and it's like, I don't want to watch
a Predator comedy.
Abbott and Costello meet the Predator. Like, that would probably be fucking better than this movie.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
Like I was saying in the Meg episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Meg exceeded expectations, in my opinion.
Right.
This movie failed because they tried to do a comedy,
right,
with serious acting. They tried to play it real straight but serious. Like, okay, but it's going to be a comedy. Like, it's a fucking comedy. Like,
right.
Meg knew what it was doing,
right,
and played in that genre. Where this was just like, hey, even all those other movies, the second one, Alien versus Predator, like, it had some of that, like, one-liney,
Yeah,
like
no, they did.
hokiness,
And I
which is
you know,
cool.
I
But
care about those movies. I like them.
it took a
I don't love 'em,
backseat
but-
to like the, seriousness of the Alien and Predator and all that shit. Where this was just like, hey, let's get a bunch of funny people,
Right.
and
make them try and convince everyone they're badasses somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel that at all. And all right, well, I'm going to take a pause on hating on this movie, and I'm going to talk about the things I liked about this movie. Because this is why it makes me mad about this movie, is because this movie had moments where they almost had it. Like, for instance, Predators, which from 2010 I think is a much better movie than it gets credit for. It's not a great movie. It doesn't steal the show. It's just more entertaining and more interesting. That movie established that there were a different kind of predator, like these darker, bigger predators. They didn't really explain why there was this higher cast of predator, and it was I felt like it was a kind of a useless addition at the time, where I was like, why are they doing this? And this movie has that same cast in it as well. Clearly, the super predator, but they actually explain why. So somebody involved had a moment of clarity where they're like, oh. I was into it. I was like, oh, so the predators when they test the predator, the initial predator they capture in the lab, they realize it has human DNA.
Right.
And there's even some jokes about the fact of like, you want to know whether a human fucked an alien. When it comes out that they're actually taking the DNA of the strongest prey, which is why they're pulling those spines out, they're pulling those things, and then they're injecting themselves with and mutating themselves so they become bigger, badder, crazier, and that's what's leading to these super predators who are more brutal.
Right.
And I think that was kind of a cool, simple, total B-movie horror explanation for this that kind of legitimized some of the things that have happened in previous movies and made more sense. And I was like, so you have enough thought in your head to do that? And I even like that whole discussion, which apparently it came from Olivia Munn completely, was the whole sports hunter. Like,
Right.
What you're explaining sounds more like a sports hunter. And then, well, we took a vote and Predator sounds cooler, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, I actually found that funny.
Yeah.
And apparently it's along the lines of a conversation she had with her sister, and they added it into the movie. And I think that's great. I thought that was a cool scene. Once again, Jake Busey being in the movie I thought was awesome. Completely wasted.
Yes.
Another thing I liked is that when the super predator actually gets to a translation device, it is very articulate when it's translated, and you hear it talk. It is I have been very entertained watching you kill yourselves. I liked that. Like, there was some elements of how intelligent it actually was. Back to what I didn't like. I didn't like the dog. Or the dogs. They were useless, because you can't convince me that this predator is like, at no time are you ever scared. Are you ever scared of these fucking things? And the dogs, like, why, if they're super hunters? I like the dogs in Predators 2010, because it was a wider range game park situation, and they just sent them out to like beat them up a little bit, and they weren't using them to hunt. Like, this guy's using them straight up to hunt. And
right.
One suddenly goes good because it's damaging the brain. I just like, stop. The comic, it was like comic relief on top of comic relief on top of comic relief. Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger was offered a role in this. He was original ending. He was going to be the one that came and got them all. That was going to be the teaser ending, where he's like, it's actually Dutch. But he read this script and he said, nah, that's okay, thanks.
I'm good.
Yeah, he's like, no, I know
won't
this
be
is
back.
going to be good. I won't be back. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude, and I know we've asked you this before. How the fuck did Olivia Munn
Run all that way.
run all that way to where the ship landed?
Yeah. From where she is in the ending.
She's on top of a fucking mountain.
Yeah, and then the rest of them stow away on a ship at the end. If you're listening to this, you probably saw it. They're hanging on, and there's a big Indian
Miles
fight,
away.
and some of them die, and they've managed to bring the ship down, and then literally within minutes, she's there.
Miles away.
I don't know how she ran after this flying ship through the
Or
woods.
repelled down a fucking cliff or whatever.
She's got nice legs, so I assume she used them.
And then the fucking dog shows up that was locked in the fucking thing. You're like, what? How did you find him?
I also actually liked the bad guy in this. What's his name?
Oh,
the actor that plays that character, the one who said like, well, we took a vote and we decided to vote for.
Right.
Is it Nebraska Williams? Is that who it was, or Sterling K. Brown? I think it's Sterling K. Brown who was playing. Yeah, Sterling K. Brown plays the main bad guy,
the
government
most
guy.
Anti-fucking climactic fucking.
And his death is just pointless. Pointless. The whole movie, he's a badass, and he's one step ahead. He knows everything that's going on.
And they were propping up and building up that character for them to have versus the fucking protagonist in it.
Boyd Holbrook, played by Quinn McKenna.
To have this epic showdown or whatever.
They even say their last words to each other is like, when this is all over, you and I are going to have a conversation. And he's like, looking forward to it. And then they go on, and then he kills himself. Did he kill? I can't remember.
I can't even remember what happened.
It
was so quick.
He had the gun on him. He took a Predator gun, put it on his shoulder, and I don't know if he shot himself or if it shot him, but he was just gone.
There was that. Then there was an explosion, and he was dead. I was like, wait, what? Did I eat popcorn?
If I had a juice cup bottle in my hand at that time, I would have thrown it at the screen.
Yeah, I was like, wait, did that guy die?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I missed that. I missed it, and I wondered,
I couldn't believe he was gone. I figured he would last to the end.
I was like, wait, what? But they built this whole thing up for this, literally the entire movie.
Right.
And then I glance away, and he's gone.
Yeah, that was ridiculous because the entire movie he's the only one I accepted was a badass because he was smart and he just didn't care about anybody. He was goal oriented, and that's how he was a bad guy. He's like, I'm trying to protect humankind from these things. You guys don't understand what's going on. Fuck all of you. But I mean, I even like, oh, he definitely saw something. Like, he has some of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he's just gone. And there's...
And not even in an epic way.
Right. Like, they also didn't really explain why all of a sudden he turned on the scientist Olivia Munn. He's the one that went and, like, got her to come in because they wanted her to look over stuff. And then when things went south, they don't even... Like, I understand why they say they were all after her character, but it's certainly Casey Brackett, but they certainly didn't seem to have any flow of where there was a moment when Traeger suddenly goes, we're on the same side, now Predators escape, and she's running all over the place with a gun, trying to protect herself or chase after it, but now we're going to go after her too and try and kill her. Like, that made no sense to me why all of a sudden she was worthless. All of a sudden... in an instant, and then they try and explain it because she stole the blood sample, but nobody saw her do that. Like, nobody knew she did that, and there was so much chaos in there. Like, they wouldn't have figured out, like, there's a blood sample missing. Like, maybe the Predator took it. Who knew? Like, they didn't even bother to explain it. They didn't care. They care about certain things, but then they don't care about others. I was like, Shane Black wrote this, but I was like, dude, what were you on?
He was drunk.
Because it seems like 1 minute it's focused. I don't know why they were in the barn from Smallville. That was really obvious that it was from that show. And I'm not even the type of guy that notices shit like that. But that is totally where Kal-El was fucking hanging out in that teenage show. And then apparently Edward James Olmos was in this fucking movie. And they cut him out. And I don't know what anybody was thinking to cut out the great actor that is Edward James Olmos. May he reign. Because he's great in everything he does.
Right.
But somehow he got cut out of this movie, but yet they found time for that piece of shit ending with the super armor that's supposed to, like, you're looking at my new suit, buddy.
Like,
I hope it comes in a 42 long. And I'm like, what the dick? What the shit?
Yeah.
No, I love Predators, and I will probably steal this movie just to reference it again. I don't want to give it any more money. I gave it enough money. But it's just not what, and I don't understand how they missed the mark so bad. And did you hear about all did you ever hear about the controversy that happened, like, right before it came out?
Mm-mm.
So apparently Shane Black put his friend in the movie, this one guy, to have a part. He has a scene with Olivia Munn. I suspect he's the guy. This is what, watching the movie, who knows, but I suspect it was the agent that goes to collect her, was originally played by a friend of Shane Black's. and Olivia Munn had a scene with him. It was just a small scene. It was just a moment of him coming together, and they have an interaction and all this stuff. Well, then she found out that the guy that was playing this part was a straight up admitted sex offender, been busted for it.
I think I did hear about
caught
this.
for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He had gone after a 14-year-old girl he was related to. She found out about this and flipped the fuck out. Like, what are you doing? Put him in this movie and putting him in with me? And like, why would you do that? Like, why do I have to be with this guy?
Right.
I mean, he literally admitted, was caught, totally went after this little girl, and I'm in a scene with him for no reason. And like, so she raised a ruckus about it, which actually I don't blame her, because it's not like this was a guy that was accused and she took it and ran with it. It wasn't like somebody said something and then she took, like, no,
it happened.
It happened. He literally did this, and she brought it up, and the movie the studio was like, yeah, get him out of here. But all of the actors just froze her out. Like, nobody would talk to her, and she was like, come on, guys, this is like, when it was happening, she was like, this isn't wrong. Like, we're not supposed to hook up guys like this. This isn't what we're supposed to do. And like, none of the other actors, except I feel like Traeger, I feel like Sterling Brown was the only one that was like, no, she's right, he's got to go.
Right.
That wasn't cool. And Shane Black was like, okay, this is on me. I was trying to hook up a friend. I shouldn't have done that. And they did it, and they re-edited the movie. And Olivia Munn was just like, dude, why am I the bad guy here? Like, and she was like, studio was acting kind of weird with her, but they did do it. Everybody went along with it. But she said, like, yeah, nobody's talking to me. Nobody returned my text. It's like, they don't even want to talk to me. She goes, I'm not even pushing this heavy. But I was like, dude, why'd you put me in a scene with that guy? Like, I'm not going to do a scene with this.
I mean,
I have to admit, I was like, that's pretty messed up.
On par for the course for this fucking shit movie.
Kinda. And that's another thing. I was like, dude, I watched 2 interviews with her talking about it where they asked about it, and she was completely reasonable. Right. She wasn't acting bizarre. She wasn't even acting like a chip in her shoulder. She's like, look, if this ruined my career because I called them out on this, then you know what? It's not worth it. I don't need a career. I to your point, I think she's having a hard time being turned into a star. Somebody wants to make her a star, but it's not working. But like, I just felt for her because it was like, I don't know. And I read that some people enjoyed the hell out of the movie, because if you're looking for a comedy, action, adventure, and you don't really give a fuck about Predator, which is probably what most people in the world that are reasonable and logical don't really care about a story like this, and why should they give a shit? Like,
that, and I think the target audience, I feel, is like 22.
Yeah, 19.
That who've probably never seen the original Predator or even the second one.
Yeah.
Like, the only ones they know are the ones from the 2000s.
But there's so many callbacks, man. It seems like there were so many callbacks and so many little explanations to try and explain other movies. It's like, dude, if you're either trying to connect it or you're not. You're either trying to do a movie
which goes back
or not.
To our boys' fucking shit show washout of a death that didn't even matter. Like, I feel like he was kind of the Carl Weathers character.
That was exactly what he was.
You know what I mean? Which Carl Weathers died a pretty sweet, dramatic death. You know what I mean? Fucking shoots his arm off, stabs him or whatever. But this is just like, dude, I went to see it, and I had to come back here and fucking
watch the original.
Get it out. I was like, dude, goddamn, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. Like, I need to watch. And then I was like, why could you not just make a good movie? Honestly,
I had a Last Jedi moment with this movie where, like, while I was watching it, I was entertained enough, but I was kind of like, there was some moments like Last Jedi where I was like, why are you doing this? And then I got out of it. I was like, that movie had problems. But then the longer it goes, the more I'm like, that movie was just like, you just said fuck it.
And there was good action. If that's what you're into, action was good.
Yeah,
good, but
I mean, again, I still go back to the very first Predator where Arnold Schwarzenegger looked at the script and went, there is no way I can beat this guy in hand-to-hand combat. My character would ever be able to beat this. He'd have to outsmart it. And that's the only way this works. And therein became the ending of that original movie that was so good, of basically Home Alone in the jungle.
Right.
Where he survives and fights this
Which is
thing.
just like anything. When you know human being is going to win a fight with a bear or a fucking lion in the wild. Like, the only way you could do it is to be smarter.
Right.
Or
You're right.
have, hey, I have a gun. I'm going to shoot this thing in the face. Don't give me a fucking spear because it's going to jump and eat my head off.
Right.
Like,
But but then literally every movie since that movie and that scene, they have just straight up ignored that to the point where Predator 2, as entertaining as that shit show of a movie is, and that is a shitty movie too. That's a terrible movie. That Danny Glover
fucking
physically Murtaugh physically fights a predator
Yes.
and beats it with the help of the little blade thing.
Right.
But still, it was like you're shitting me. And then
Danny Glover's always been fucking old.
yeah.
Like, too. You know what I mean? He's always been fucking old.
I
So
remember
it's like,
watching that going like, so you mean to tell me that Arnold Schwarzenegger can't go toe to toe with this thing physically, but Danny Glover can totally at like 20 years older, 10 years older than Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's ready to fight this thing. And then Predators, Adrian Brody suddenly can go toe to toe with them somehow.
well, that was the weird time where they were trying to make him some huge action star, too.
That was a weird choice to do with that actor. I enjoy that actor, but like Predators, I enjoyed the movie. It was a surprising casting,
Right.
but again, and then in this movie, once again, we have these weird they have these weird tricks, so they're not outright. It's not just going toe to toe, but it's still like all of a sudden the super predator gets dumb during the last half of the movie,
Right.
and just gets tricked into the force shield, which cuts off his arm, and tricked into doing
Everything.
I'm just like, what is going on with this goddamn movie?
Yeah, it is just like Shane Black was like, fuck it. Whatever. I'm just going to do a bunch of shit.
I just imagine at some point they got too far to say do over, and there they were. They had the movie they had. I'm just a little surprised. Like, Shane Black is not my favorite, but he had some really good moments. I thought Iron Man 3 was terrible. I thought Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was great. I mean, he's got moments, but this was most certainly not one of them. Creature design looked great. Makeup effects looked great. The actors tried to do the best they could with everything they had. They did not have much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the fact that Shane Black is about to do Doc Savage, the Pulp series stories. I'm not looking forward to that, but he looks like he's writing it, so maybe he'll write a better movie.
I don't know. I thought this thing was a shit show of a movie and terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, all right. Well, we can keep beating it up, or we can just scrap it and just say like that's what it is. We spent 44 minutes talking about how much we hated this movie. The teaser poster even features the crucified Predator from 2010 Predators. I thought that was the case, and then when doing the research before this episode, I saw that was the case. I have no idea why they chose to do that, but whatever.
I have no idea why they chose to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah, it's just sloppy. So how much you gonna give it? How many candy corns you giving this?
Have we done halves before? I feel like we've done halves. I would
We've
do
done halves
like
and quarters.
I'd do like half one.
Half of one.
Yeah, just because I thought it was a complete pointless movie
Yeah.
compared to any ones preceding it.
Right.
And if it was supposed to be any sort of sequel to the first one,
Yeah.
like I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah, I'm gonna give it half. A half angry, disappointed zombie candy corn.
I'm gonna give it 1, and the reason I'm being that generous is because the explanation as to why super predators existed, for somebody who likes lore, I appreciate that. I really liked some of the characters, just not in the roles that they were in. I thought the actors did the best they could with the parts they were given. I thought the scene of the super predator being translated and talking to everyone was pretty hilarious. and there was some good action, and there were some good moments, but I am giving it more credit than it deserves. I don't understand how you could see that first movie and not understand suspense,
Or be in it.
and not understand the suspense that it came to. Because I mean, if anyone who knows the story of the original Predator, that movie, it was so close to not. It came so close to Jean-Claude Van Damme running around as the Predator in a terrible, like, weird cartoony mantis suit that was orange. So, you know, like, before the guy stepped in and designed a great alien, and they refilmed scenes to replace stuff and made it all work, and then made Jean-Claude Van Damme invisible. So it actually made more sense. So I mean, there was a lot of things that, like, that movie is like Casablanca. It shouldn't have stood out as much as it did, but it became a great movie despite itself. And this one, you're gonna, if you're drunk and you throw it on, you're gonna chuckle because the actors are talented, and you know, there's some fun moments. I guess it's just not what it just. There's nothing at stake here. I need a drink. I'm depressed.
And on that note, this is Screamin' He's saying, "Eat my balls, you hungry motherfuckers."
Not even necessary. I'm just. This is Dominic. I'm gonna go lay down.
I think I've said "eat my balls" in the last one too, a few times.
Theme. You need. I'm
Some
not
balls
doing
in
it
my
for you.
mouth?
I'm not gonna do it for you. So you're on your
I
own.
mean, you know, everyone needs a little salty nuts every once in a while.
And on that note, eat a banana.
See you.
You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show, and if we're right or if we're wrong, or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well, Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin' E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin' E. That's Screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davi, you can find my artwork at dominicdavi.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com, or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.